Scott Michael Nathan. How are you doing today? Amazon's #1 best-selling author.
Do you believe?
And also my friends. Lucky to say.
I'm lucky.
How you doing today?
I'm so great for this rainy day.
Isn't this fun?
Yeah, it's cozy.
You're a Paz Pete.
And
You're a reg.
yes, I'm a reg.
You come to my comedy shows. You come to my music shows.
Yeah, I'm a man of the people. People prevent on East of La Brea. I do on occasion.
For me, you do.
I'm a man of the people, yeah.
Yeah. Aw. Well, how's it going? What's it like being a #1 best-selling author?
It has been crazy. I have a lot of things that are unexpected. You know, like it's nice to sell books. It's nice to get the praise from people. It's not the stalkers aren't so nice. The middle-aged housefrau sending me unsolicited nudes is different for me.
Yeah.
And I've spent my whole life, as you know, behind cameras. I was never comfortable and never had any desire to be in front of one, but alas,
Right.
here we are.
Right. You're a photographer.
I'm a photographer and director.
That's how you started your whole
That's all I've done.
crazy crazy stories. They all started because you got thrown into the photography world.
Yeah, and I was never going to tell stories on camera either, but my friends' kids were like, you should be on TikTok. And I said, I'm not 13 years old. I don't lip sync. I don't do coordinated dance.
Yeah.
I'm not for TikTok. I'm too old. And they're like, no, people do all kinds of things on TikTok. And the only reason I agreed to do TikTok is because I don't know anyone on TikTok. Or so I thought.
Yeah.
So I did one video on there. Just let it fly, figuring no one's going to see it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it for 4 days. I go look at it. 100,000 views. And I'm like, that's an outlier. That's how they hook you in. And it's been like, giving you that big dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do another one. Do another one. 250,000 views. Do another one. 700,000 views. Do another one. 1 million views.
What do you think it is? What is the zhuzh that you have with people? Like, what is it?
I don't know. I mean, to me, my life is normal. But as I see how people perceive it, my life is not normal.
Yeah.
Not everybody, gets kidnapped. Not everybody thinks it's normal to take mushrooms and go to the Vatican. Getting kidnapped by Hunter Thompson and goes with mescaline. It's not something everyone has experienced.
That was one of my favorite chapters in your book.
My dating life, I suppose, has been different than most.
Yeah. Well,
I think they like it. I just let it fly. Like,
you're honest. You're you.
yeah.
You're unique. You have your unique stories. Not many people have lived all the lives you've lived. You haven't experienced. I mean, a lot of people haven't experienced the shit that you've gone through.
Yeah. I'm also just unconcerned. Everyone's like, are you worried you're going to get canceled? But I said, from what? I don't have a job.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose. Right?
I'm not running for office. Yeah, I'm dangerous because I have nothing to lose.
That's what you told me before. If you've got nothing to lose. Who said that? Bob
Dylan. When you got nothing, you got nothing to lose.
So true. So true. You went to my birthday party.
I did.
What'd you think about that? It was a fun dinner.
It was fun. Yeah, I thought I would know everyone there. I knew...
You didn't know anybody, I don't think.
I knew Zoe a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that was it.
It was a little eccentric group of people.
It was a good group of people. I like the guy I sat across from.
Wait,
the jackass guy. Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, he directed the mini doc on Powerhouse on YouTube.
That's right, which I loved, by the way. And I still haven't watched his show yet on YouTube. What's it called? Kill Tony?
The show that he's working on right now.
It's
the show that he has is called Relentless Ones on YouTube, but he was on Jackass. He's a video guy of Jackass. Right. One of the characters, and yeah, and he's part of Big Brother. I think there's a documentary on Hulu for that magazine called Big Brother.
All right, well, you'll send me. We'll plug my stuff today.
I want him to do an episode on you because you're a hustler. You know what's up. You lived in LA for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that is what makes you you're so open to these, fun things that happen to you because you jump on these opportunities that come. I don't know, you meet people and you just go with it, right? And you create
in this world. To the extent I'm Forrest Gump, that I don't see this stuff coming. I see the disaster, but most people are wise. Most people see the disaster, they run the other way. Whereas I'm like, What's going to happen next? Bring it on.
I think that's why we get along.
I have to see the train go off the cliff and burn in the canyon.
Yeah.
Because I'll do anything for the story.
Yeah. I think that's why we get along, because I feel like I've had quite a number of stories myself.
Yeah.
You're inspiring me to really jot down the crazy shit that's happened to me, like, over time.
Yeah, you still see it normalized. Just living here, everything has become normalized. But when you say things out loud to normal people, they're just like, nothing you're saying is normal at all.
I mean, you FaceTimed with the Dalai Lama and Bill Clinton at one point
True story.
on a private jet.
While I was shirtless on Ambien. Should we tell that story?
I mean, it is seriously.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
So one night, I get a call from this model friend of mine, and she's on a private jet. And I've been on not a lot, but I've been on some private jets, but I never saw a private jet like that. This private jet's fuselage was as big as this club. And I go, dude, whose plane is that? She goes, this guy I'm newly seeing. I go, who is it? She goes, I'll tell you if it works out. So she's drunk. She's got a glass of champagne in her hand. She's FaceTiming me on an iPad. So she shifts in her seat a little bit, this big creamy leather seat, and I see the unmistakable outline of these out-of-focus saffron robes, and I go, dude, is that the Dalai Lama behind you? She goes, oh my God, yeah, do you know him? I said, no, I don't know him. She goes, he's really nice. I said, he's the 14th reincarnation of Buddha. I would imagine the very least he would be is nice. And she goes, he's what now? And I go, never mind.
Oh my God.
So then we're talking a little while longer, and she shifts in her seat again. And I go, dude, is that Bill Clinton talking to the Dalai Lama? She goes, yeah, do you know him? I go, no, I don't know him either. And she goes, you like him? Do you want to meet that? I go, yeah. But I had just taken an Ambien, and I'm shirtless, and I'm in bed, and there's just lamplight. But it doesn't even occur to me till it's too late. She stands up, and she's walking with her iPad in selfie mode.
Oh my God.
And gets on one knee like this. And I'm shirtless and on sleeping pills. And she goes, you guys, this is my friend Scott who wanted to meet you. And I don't know what to say, so I go, Your Holiness, Mr. President. And Dalai Lama goes, hello. And Bill Clinton goes, how you doing, bud? And I go, good. And she goes back to her seat. I go, where are you going with that? And she goes, Monaco. I go, what are you doing in Monaco with Bill Clinton and the Dalai Lama? And she goes, partying, duh. So the next day, she sends me a picture of all of them at dinner at this beachside, place on a mountain. And she goes, I just had the best wine, literally, LOL, and sends me a picture of this bottle of wine. So I don't know that much about wine, but I know people who do. So I sent the picture of the bottle of wine to Carlo Mondavi, who's the heir to Robert Mondavi in Napa, who founded the Napa Valley. And just to be funny, I send the photo and I go, any good? And he writes back and he said, can? And I said, no. And he writes, Nice? I said, no. He said, Monaco? I said, yes. And he said, let me guess, some billionaire took his dick out and was showing off in front of a bunch of people? I said, that's exactly what happened. He goes, that is the fakest 1947 Chateau Cheval Blanc I've ever seen.
No.
One of the most expensive bottles of wine in the world. I go, how do you know it's fake? He goes, the bottle's wrong, the cork's wrong, the label's wrong. I'm 100% sure of it. He goes, you going to tell them? I said, under no circumstances. He goes, why aren't you going to tell them? I said, because I know a thing or two about billionaires. They don't like being humiliated. I'm keeping my mouth shut on this one. So that happened.
That's just one of thousands of stories.
Every damn day.
Have I heard your Trump story yet?
Which one?
Your best one. Give me your best one. One more.
All right. So I used to date this very wealthy woman who was a Trump mega donor. And she used to kidnap me. She used to take me on a plane to look up her IRS. We go to Amsterdam. You met her. She was at Arsenic. And usually it was fun. Usually it was just like get on her plane, not wear clothes, go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, or go to Paris and spend a couple weeks at the Royal Monceau. Well, this time we're only on the plane for a couple hours. I'm like, where are we going? So she's like, darling, you just calm down. Just don't worry your pretty little head about it. So we're sitting in this Suburban, driving. And I'm like, we're in the middle of freaking nowhere. I'm like, these little regional airports, you can't really tell where you are. I suppose I could have checked Google Maps, but it was just chaos. So all of a sudden I start seeing American flags and red baseball hats on the side of the road. And I'm like, no. She goes, "You gotta behave yourself." I said, "I behave myself."
Oh,
But next thing, I'm backstage at a Trump rally, and I get put with Mark Meadows and Don Jr. And I'm like, and when I'm in trauma, I don't freak out. I just stay in the moment. I deal with my feelings later.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Congratulations, nice to meet you, nice to meet you." And Trump's like to my right, I'm at the side of the stage. He's yammering on and on and on, fake news, end up. And then he finishes his speech, and then I see her in her Chanel suit in my periphery. She taps me on the shoulder, and I go, "Yeah, babe." And she goes, "Darling, would you take a picture, please?" And I turn around, and you've seen the photo, but I'm not showing it on here. And it's her and Trump doing the thumbs up. And Trump goes, "You got the hottest girl here." And I'm like, "Oh, seriously, gonna effing vomit right now."
Yeah.
And I blacked out. I don't remember what happened after that. Anyway, we're back on the planet. She's screaming at me, and I'm like, "What did I do?" She goes, "You were very disrespectful to the president." And I said, "No, I wasn't." She goes, "He told you had the most beautiful girl here." I go, "Yeah, then what happened?" She goes, "He went to shake your hand, and you put your hands in your pockets, and you took a step back." And I said, "Did I? I don't even remember that." And she goes, "Yeah, that was very disrespectful." And I said, "You gave him an envelope. What did you give him in that envelope?" She goes, "I donated 10 million. I go, "You gave that guy 10, I'm on unemployment during COVID, and you gave him $10 million?"
Whoa.
And she said, "Yeah, he protects my dirty businesses. You don't. You just have sex with me." And I was like, harsh.
Oh my
But harsh. So yeah.
Oh,
But I've also spent a significant amount of time with Tiffany Trump, who I shot for my art show, Confessional, which you were at, and Marla Maples, who I hung out with, and met Ivanka a few times.
I've read those.
Yeah, my friend used to be her agent in New York, her modeling agent in New York.
Stories on stories, dude. That's wild. Where I can't, man. I like the OJ Simpson story.
Yeah, you got a good Trump story of your own, man.
Yeah, I do. I do. Actually, Scott is the one who helped me. He directed my little video. Yeah, I had a little TikTok about my story with Trump. Man, that was I blacked out too afterward.
I know that you get overwhelmed. It's just like it's a lot.
When you meet Trump, it's like you met the devil himself, right? Like, whoa,
How is like stoned in the Oval Office with Trump and like the whole cabinet. It's like the most unbelievable stuff. She had lunch in the Navy mess.
yeah.
And then and there's like a global crisis going on. And Trump is saying to Powzex, who had the best ratings in the history of the Comedy Central roast, and he's like, "You, sir."
Yeah.
And she's sitting there just like standing at the Resolute desk like, "What the fuck is that?"
And he was like, "Oh, you're pretty," or some shit.
Yeah.
He usually does.
Yeah, and he typical likes pretty girls. But here doesn't. You're everyone's kite.
Thanks. Man, he is charming though.
That's what everybody.
He's charming.
That's what everybody says. I just had dinner last week with Trump's former ambassador to the EU, which is a story for another time, Gordon Sondland.
Yeah.
So I said, "What did you think about working for him?" He's like, "Say what you want about the guy, but he's the best retail politician I've ever met. He has an incandescence about him. He has a light about him, and he's good at charming people."
I mean, his kids are just, come on. The sons, they go shoot animals in Africa and fucking, they do the whole trophy hunting shit. Who does that?
Because a lot of people.
Why?
I mean, I've hunted in Africa, but I would never hunt a trophy. Like I hunted like an impala, which is like the McDonald's of Africa. Everything eats the impala.
Well, you're not doing it ever again.
And I ate them. I ate them and I fed hungry people, but I would never shoot a lion. They were like, "Do you want to shoot a lion?" I was like, "No."
Fuck.
And they're like, "How about a giraffe?" And I'm like, "We love giraffe."
What the fuck is wrong? Wow.
So like,
Don't tell me this. I'm gonna get so angry right now.
yeah, I'm kind of over it. I had to just do it for my Hemingway fantasy, but like,
Ugh. Yeah, there are pictures of these assholes carrying like,
elephant tails and leopards. Yeah.
fuck you. You piece of shit. You fucking piece of shit. John Donald Jr., whatever the fuck their names are. Eric. Whatever, dude. Not into that. That's not cool. Anyway, how do we meet?
We met through Arsenic.
Mm-hmm.
And Arsenic is this company. People always ask me to describe it, and I called it like the Playboy Mansion for Instagram girls.
Yeah.
And Pao was an artist in residence, and the CEO and founder was my ex-girlfriend and still dear friend, Amanda.
Mm-hmm. And you're with Jack Osborne. True, I dated quite a long time ago.
That's right, and I didn't even
We did
know Rui Das.
Jack, and I was a baby.
Yeah, Jack had called me and he said, "What are you doing this afternoon?" I said, "I'm going over to this place, Arsenic House." She's like, "Oh, I follow them on Instagram." I come. Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you can come." And then I bet you with him. And Jack's seen a few things, he's the spawn of darkness. He grew up,
Yeah.
an Osborne.
I love Jack.
But we've stepped onto that property. There were like 3 photo shoots going on, and everybody's naked. And I got my start with Playboy. I'm immune to nudity. It was like, I'm just stepping over naked bodies. And he's just like,
Hey, yeah, he likes the ladies, that's for sure.
who doesn't? And everyone likes him, but it's like, to me, having shot so many naked people without the context, like, unless they're like in my bedroom, I'm just like, is the toe slipping out of frame? Do I need to fix the hair? Like,
Yeah.
I just think of him as just an objet d'art.
Yeah, right. Oh my god. Yeah, that was a crazy day. That was a crazy day.
It was a hot day. I remember it was just like 110 degrees.
No, that's funny because when I met you, that was when, Jack almost lost his marriage because of that. My ex, remember that? My ex contacted him and made these lies because he was drunk somewhere, and oh my goodness.
You told
We
me
were
about that. I didn't know about any of that until much later. Until you
I was telling JP. Dude, that was so crazy because there was some news article that came out with Taylor Swift was at a table at the Grammys, and Sharon Osbourne was there, and Kelly, and they were throwing drinks at my ex.
Oh my god.
And because he was drunk, but nobody knew why. It was just, this, big music executive guy is getting shunned out of the Grammys. It was, oh my god, it was actually my birthday. I remember I was at my birthday dinner and this was going on, and he was there, and, he made a big mistake, as alcoholics do a lot.
Yeah.
They get jealous. Jack and I, we dated a long time ago. Like, nothing happened. Maybe we, like, wrote some things here and there, nothing crazy. But, my ex contacted him,
Yeah.
made a bunch of wrote the wife. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Big mess. Wrote the wife, said we're hooking up, all that stuff. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I had to write her and say, I'm so sorry. This guy's sick.
Oh, who did you write? Jack's wife?
Yes.
His ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa.
I wrote her, and she was, she's of course upset, and like I think he almost lost marriage. Crazy. Oh my goodness. But anyway, that.
But when you told me that story, because I didn't know that story,
Yeah.
and respect to Kelly and Sharon, because my parents would never stick up for me and attack someone who wronged me. They'd be like, you probably deserved it.
Totally.
So
My
like,
parents
I love a
will.
family that's got your back. And I think that's why people love the Osbourne so much.
I just love the others.
Real, yeah.
That was the best show growing up watching it. It was great.
I never saw it till later, but I just love that.
Yeah.
And I gave them a dog.
Sweet. Yeah, but man, yeah, that was a wild. But anyway, back to Arsenic. I saw Jack after all that nonsense had happened, and then my ex had already he passed.
Right.
So, because that's what happened when you do drugs.
Yeah, it comes with
Hard.
the owner's manual.
You kind of lose your life sometimes, So anyway, all right.
Yeah, Jack.
Oh,
Jack called me that morning, and I'd seen on the news that your ex died, and I knew him too because he managed a band that I was friends with.
Yeah.
And Jack goes, "Do you know this guy?" I go, "Yeah, I know him." He goes, "He's effing dead." And I go, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Were you friends with him?" I said, "No, he just managed my friends." And he's like, "I'm glad he's effing dead." It's like harsh. But then I heard the story, and I was just like, "Yeah, I get it."
Jack is ruthless, dude. He's just.
No, no one likes their life being messed with, and being a fellow Scorpio, our birthdays are a day apart.
I mean, that's the thing. When you're here and you're alive, you got to remember that shit. Remember what you do every day matters. And, like, I went to a funeral I think it was a memorial, I guess you call it, for Ryan O'Neal
All right, the other day.
last Saturday. That was a beautiful ceremony, you know,
How many people were there?
maybe 150,
I think that's pretty big.
Sure.
How many people spoke? I assume.
like
I-
3.
So Patrick, his son, I assume. He's the sportscaster.
Patrick is he's the son.
Tatum O'Neal speak?
She, I believe, was there, but she left early.
Who else
I think
spoke?
she's been sick. I think she had a stroke. 2 of his best friends.
Celebrities or no?
No.
Okay.
Very, old.
Who else was there? Give us a highlight.
Benicio del Toro was
Okay.
2. Rosa Hedemy. Oh, that was pretty cool. He's cool. That guy David Boreanaz was crying me. He's fucking hot.
Any OG movie stars like 70s, 80s movie stars?
Honestly, not that I know of. Not that I know of. Maybe I don't think they're alive anymore. How many cool old movie stars are left right now that are still alive?
Plenty.
Who?
Robert De Niro and Alfred Chia,
Oh,
Meryl Streep. There's
I mean, sure. I mean, I wouldn't consider them like old.
I mean, Godfather. They built that studio. Oh, stripe.
You're right. They're getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what brought you there? I never asked you. What were you doing at Ryan O'Neal's memorial?
So I know Ryan O'Neal because his assistant is my best friend.
Okay.
So she started working for him many years ago, 15 years ago. And she probably lasted about 2 or 3 years working for him. And she gave the job to her best friends, who I'm pretty close with too. So whenever I was in Malibu, I would, hit up my friend and she'd be there a lot. So I would just
How many times did you hang out with Ryan?
I've hung out with him, I'd say 10 times. Like, so and certain too over there. I went to his 4th of July party. That was fun. Oh my gosh. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I remember.
Who was his vibe? Was he wild?
He was surreal. He was cool. He was fun. He was a pro. If he was younger, I'd be on that.
That guy was a handsome guy.
He was.
Christ. Yeah.
Man, at the memorial, we're watching, all these movies he's in. I'm like, God damn. Gorgeous man. No wonder. And he just had that movie star.
The Riz.
Yeah, that just, dude, he had it. But yeah, when I first met him, he's just so fun and, very bold and loud and just,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, I never met him. I used to see him around Malibu. But I never met him. But I know, we all know the history. He had very tumultuous relationships with Farrah, with the kids.
Yeah, he was married to Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, one of my favorite memories was I had gone over there to go hang and we're upstairs and he was sick for a long time. So he would just be in his bedroom and all his friends would hang out in his bedroom and it was a big room, just gorgeous view of the ocean, just pure ocean, whole wall,
Yeah.
a whole window. And he had, the sports going, whatever, his friends were there. And he actually hired me to paint his dogs, which he loved. But I was always like a little he never really gave me a real reference fuzz. I was like, it's cute, but
Right.
I would have done it again. But anyway, he loved it, and that's all that mattered. And so it was there, and he put it right next to the Farrah Fawcett Andy Warhol painting that's $10 million. That painting is $10 million at least. Yeah, it was right over his bed. And then my painting was over there. But my favorite memory was we're hanging out there and he goes, "Hey, pal, go over to that cabinet over there. Go take out a gold cigarette case." So I do. I walk over and it was a gift from Farrah. And I open it up and there's just it's full of joints. And he said, "Bring it over here." And I smoked a joint with him. Nobody else was smoked with him. So I smoked with him. And it was great. Definitely one of my favorite memories.
Excellent. When does this podcast drop? Do you know what your turnaround's going to be ish? You can edit this out.
I think, I just want to get several episodes going and I need to get a good little song.
Okay. So don't plug events because it'll happen after them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll happen after, but I'll post it on the part or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, but the back to the memorial though. Yeah, Benicio del Toro was there. David Boreanaz. There was oh, Jamie Kennedy was there. That was fun to see. He did my comedy show back in April, and we're friends, you know. So it was fun to see him. There was a clip of Malibu's Most Wanted, and Ryan played his dad. I completely forgot about that. So I didn't know until like I got up and I saw him. I'm like, Jamie, what's up? It's cute. He's cool. Yeah, but that's the place to meet men, I think.
Funerals.
A movie star, yeah, old movie stars. Funeral. Whoa. Or fuck Raya.
Or
Fuck Raya.
AA meetings.
No.
That's where all.
No, not for me. I do not want a sober guy. Please no sober guys. I can't date another dude who's like judging me on my 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah, I do that. Sometimes I think like sobriety is like actors. Like they should be with their own kind. Like I don't date creatives because I only have one working hemisphere of my brain, and that's the right side. So I need the yang to my yin, and that's why
Same.
I only really want to date like surgeons, business people.
Because they're interest you too. They're doing something.
They know things I don't know.
You don't know.
I know things that they do. I liven them up a little bit, you know, and teach them things. They teach me things, and we balance each other out.
Right.
Whereas I've tried getting actors and comedians and musicians. It's just too much art. It's too much crazy. There's no harmony. There's no balance.
I tend to date businessmen too, or like that whole thing. It's lawyers. It's just, I love it.
It's just better, yeah.
And they love you more too. You know, like they like that you're
Inject a little excitement into their lives that we all help each other. But,
Mhm.
you know, I had a date a couple days ago I told you about, and she had this moment of insecurity. We had a little after date kiss in the driveway at the hotel.
Yeah.
And she said, listen, I'm not a billionaire, I'm not a supermodel, and I'm not a movie star. I said, good, I've tried all of those. They were all shit.
Yeah.
And she goes, so you're okay with me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here, aren't I?
What is that? Why do you think she's so insecure about that? Like she's well off, you know.
And I said to her before we even went on a date, I said, listen, I'm warning you, I'm a lot. And she goes, what? And I said, listen, you don't have to pay for it. I'll send you an Audible link or I'll send you a book, but you should read my book before either of our time are wasted. And she said, I bought your audiobook 2 weeks ago and I've listened to it twice. And I said, how'd you find out about my book? And she goes, 2 of my girlfriends told me about it, so I bought it.
Yeah.
And so I said, so if you listen to all that, you still wanted to hang out with me?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. And we had one great date, then a second great date, and then now she's like panic stricken.
What happened? Yeah, what happened today? It happened today. Tell me.
It happened today, yeah. So, God, so I went to Santa Monica, you know, to the other side, and had a great time with her. We hung out at one of her local haunts, and then I had her meet me at one of my local haunts. She was like just physically fidgety and uncomfortable. I said, you seem uncomfortable. Why? And she's like, I just don't feel myself in Hollywood. I just don't feel comfortable. And I said, no, why? She goes, well, do you feel comfortable in Santa Monica? I said, I feel comfortable everywhere.
Yeah.
Because we're all just people. We have different jobs. We have different paths, but we're all just people.
Yeah.
Like, you could stick me in any country. You could put me with royals. You could put me with homeless people. Because
Same.
human beings and what to want, I'm great with all of them. Even people I politically disagree with. People in groups are dangerous. That's a whole different thing. Groupthink is a very dangerous thing. But she said, well, I'm not comfortable in Hollywood. I feel like a fish out of water. I'm not comfortable at this hotel. Everyone's like famous here. I'm like, who gives a shit? It's just you and I talking. What's the problem here? And she's like, I just feel weird. And I'm like, okay, well, just keep doing that then. I'm going to keep feeling comfortable wherever I go.
You need a woman who's secure and not freaking out around.
Now I saw the writing on the wall. She's, you know, like it takes a strong woman to understand my life because I have a lot of women friends like you. And to know that I'm not, you know, like if I'm with you, I'm with you. Just because I had pretty friends doesn't mean you shouldn't trust me. You should trust me more.
Yeah.
And I'm like licorice, man. I'm not for everyone. And I try to warn them. Like I have a really good friend of mine who goes, maybe we should date. I said, you don't want to date me. She goes, why? She goes, my mom thinks I should be dating you.
I said, my God, you don't date Scott Nathan, not you. You're a government bureaucrat. You don't date Scott Nathan. You're friends with Scott Nathan. He's the most loyal person you know, but you don't date Scott Nathan. Take it from me. I'm Scott Nathan. And now she's dating a very successful man, and we're all friends.
What is
I met the guy. He's awesome.
what's the longest relationship you've ever had?
5.5 years.
Who was that?
Who was that? She was in the beauty industry, not a model. She was in the cosmetics industry, and it was a good relationship. It ran its course, and it was great.
Who broke up with who?
Uh,
How was the breakup? What was the breakup?
it was
How
really,
you say-
it was really my only acrimonious breakup. I'm friends with every ex I have ever had, including from when I was a teenager. This one ended very badly because I got her job,
Hmm.
and I caught her cheating on me with someone in my industry. And yeah, it was a bad scene. And then she tried to get me fired from. She succeeded in getting me fired from the client my best client that I got her a job at.
Oh fuck!
So it takes a lot for me to be done with you, but that was enough.
How did you find out?
A text message that flashed while she was sleeping next to me, and then I looked the guy up, and I started doing my detective work, which girls are better at that sort of thing than guys are. But I figured it all out. Like what? And I was boiling over, and I was like, "What am I doing? Do I wake her up and kick her out? No, that's too psycho."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do I throw a glass of ice water at her face as I get the F out of my house?" I'm like, "No, that's too psycho." So what I did was I found his Facebook page, and I printed it out. And she always got up at like 5 in the morning to get to work. So I printed out his Facebook page and I posted it to the inside of my front door. And then below that was a garbage bag with all of her clothes and all of her things in it. And then I just wrote on Sharpie, "Don't come back."
Oh my gosh!
And when I got up 4 hours later, the piece of paper was still on the wall and the garbage bag was gone. And I never knew what happened to her till a few weeks ago. What
No
told me that she's still friends with her. And she's married and has a couple kids and lives in like Huntington Beach or something, and whatever. She got what she needed. I don't know. Look, if she called me today, I'd be fired. It was a long time ago, but yeah. They don't all end well.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty nice of you. That's a nice way of.
Yeah, it ran its course. Like we should have probably broken up 6 months before we did. I think we were just sick of each other.
That's too bad.
It happened.
Oh, it happens. Long relationship.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever made it that long.
but sometimes relationships, life has seasons. Sometimes it's like a book. Sometimes there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you come away enriched from it, but it wasn't for you. And I don't look at old relationships as failures. I look at them as enrichments. Like sometimes it's just learning what you don't want in your life is a good thing.
Totally.
So they're all positive.
That's what you learn. The older you get, and when you're alone, like me too, like you just learn what you don't want too.
Yeah. And what else I've learned is if I'm on a date and she's bad mouthing all of her exes, I'm like, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Because I don't badmouth any of my exes, not because I'm a polite person, but because I would never date somebody that I didn't actually want to be friends with. I would never sleep with somebody that I don't actually enjoy the company of. Because no matter how hot someone is, if you don't respect them or like them as a person, as soon as you're done with sex, you're like, "Oh my God, please don't talk. Please don't talk. She can talk. Oh God, shut up."
It's so true.
So I learned this lesson in my teens. So I would never date, sleep with, I don't care how hot someone is. Wrapping paper comes off quickly. I want the person I go for a beer with after sex to be the same person I have sex with.
Yeah.
Like I want someone I want to hang out with to be the person I'm dating.
Yeah.
Which should be obvious, but most people are like, "Oh, I talk to girlfriends of mine and they're like, oh, I met this guy I'm totally in love." And I'm like, "What's he like?" And they're like, "He goes to the gym a lot and he's like really tan." And I'm like, "I understand he's tan. What's he like?" She's like, "He's like got really good abs and he's like really tan." And I'm just like,
Fuck no.
I'm like, "This
I don't feel enough.
you care."
The hotter you are, the most likely I'm not gonna be into it.
Yeah, it's way it comes vanity and ego and a lot of things. Like I want some.
I get turned off real easy.
Yeah,
with that. If you're
my type is funny. Oh, dumb. I forget.
dumb,
My type is funny. You can't You can't really be funny.
Funny unless you're smart.
yeah,
So smart and funny is my type.
smart and funny.
And I don't really have a physical type. And when I was with that girl, everyone's like, oh, Scott's just into Asian girls. And I'm just like, I dated one Asian girl. And then when I was with this last one, everyone, oh, Scott just likes blondes.
Mm.
And then, you know,
Yeah, I get
Amanda was very different from any of those types. And
Yeah.
everyone's just like, what? And I'm like, she's brilliant and smart and good at everything that I'm not. So,
right.
so
I get chubby guys, bold chubby guys.
Yeah.
All my friends think I like bold chubby guys just because I do.
yeah, you chop down one tree and everyone thinks you're a lumberjack.
I'm a chubby chaser. I guess.
You and Sarah Silverman.
I kind of am. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sarah Silverman dated Jenny Kimmel.
Like he was-
That's my celebrity crush.
Well, so
Oh, I would do that.
So when I first
Give me
moved,
five.
when I first moved to LA, I went to the Improv on Melrose, and Sarah Silverman was just starting out, and she opened with a joke that convinced me she was my soulmate.
Oh yeah.
She opens with, and she goes, "Hi, you guys. My name's Sarah. So this morning, I'm licking grape jelly off my boyfriend's cock and balls, and I thought to myself, oh my god, I'm so turning into my mother." And I was just like, this girl's a fucking genius. I need to go out with her. So I just beeline right to her at the bar right after she finished her set. And I had the longer hair than yours. I had
Yeah.
hair down to here, and a big Harley Davidson out front, a black leather jacket. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's the 90s, and I think I'm all hot shit, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, and I was 118 pounds back then with the long hair. And she goes, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Scott." She goes, "Scott, you seem like you do okay with the ladies with this whole look." And I go, "You know, it's all right."
Yeah.
She goes, "Listen, I would never date someone that's skinnier than me." I go,
Oh, yeah.
I get it. You're being a nice person to try to get out of this. And she goes, "No, I'm a chubby chaser. I like fat guys." And I'm like, "I don't believe you, but I like that you're handling me in a really polite and sensitive way." And then like 6 months later, I see on a supermarket tabloid that she was dating Kimmel. I was like, she was telling the truth. She really is a chubby chaser.
So something about her, I don't know. Maybe it's more cushion for the pushing, you know?
Maybe.
I don't want to be sleeping next to a rod, a steel rod, or like a fucking ladder, like fucking. I don't want that. The skinny guys, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not big on it.
there was this really skinny runway girl that I dated for like 6 months, and my friends were like, "Oh my god, what's it like having sex with her?" And I said, "It's like trying to fall asleep in a wooden chair. It's very pointy. It looks great on camera, but it's very lot of sharp edges. Like we'd be bashing hip bones into each other, elbows and shoulders, or like looked great, and everything hurt."
You know, no, I don't want skeletal.
I'm still friends with her too. She owns a rehab.
Oh my gosh, sure. What the fuck? So, are you gonna write a second book already? Are you censored it, sir?
Half done. The people are asking for more.
Ooh.
Like I've got 4.8 stars on Amazon and Goodreads, and everyone's like, the only thing anyone says is, "It was too short. Take my money for part 2."
You know what? I do have to thank you for getting me out of my reading rut.